in the business.
Ego. The ego.
That's ego.
Ego hit y'all with another one.
Wow. Bad news. Canelo, baby, you want baby. I know that. Versus Crawford. Undercard gets announced. And let me tell you, it is buns. And your boy Ego was right. But more on that. So that's what we're going to break down. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I know the haters is mad because they can't get enough of me. Listen, Boxing Ego was right, and I'm finna prove it. Canelo Crawford card just got announced. You see? Card. Of course, the main event. No, whatever. That's whatever. I told you my thoughts on the fight. I don't really care about this fight. But Canelo Crawford. And on the undercard, you have Caleb Walsh versus Fernando Vargas Jr. Come on, bro. They said it's the biggest fight card or whatever in the millennium. This is the card you put together. All right. Christian and Billy Lester Martinez. Okay. Two like names that aren't going to ring bells outside of hardcore boxing fans. Lester Martinez from Crawford's camp pulled out of his last fight because he had migraines, you know. I guess. So, yeah, I don't really dig this. And this dude, Saudi Mohammed Alakel versus John Ornelas. I mean, this undercard is trash. Listen, there's a lot of people, they are compromised. They're not going to keep it all the way funky. But we came in the game talking real boxing and keeping it all the way unfiltered. So that's what we're going to continue. This is not a good card, bro. This is not a good card, in my opinion. For what they're claiming is one time and supposed to be this big, huge spectacle, right? I really want to say that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson had a better undercard because you had Mario Barrios on it. You know, you were supposed to have Ashton Sylvie versus Floyd Schofield, but are having some good fights on it. Katie Taylor Serrano was on the undercard. That Jake Paul MVP Promotions put on a better card on Netflix for sure, right? You got Canelo Crawford, so that is what it is. And again, all these other fights that I just mentioned. Caleb Walsh and Fernando Vargas. I mean, it's almost like Turkey and the people who are putting this on. They get on Reddit, they get on boxing Twitter, and then they read the comments and go off of what people are saying in the comments. That's a good idea. The way I've always spoke on this, but the way Turkey chooses to move the fighters is not really a traditional way, and it's not going to last. It's not a good way, in my opinion, to move the fighters, because guys like Caleb Walsh, you're going to set one of them back. Guys like Lester Martinez, if he loses to Mbili, you know, who has a better resume at this point, you know, all these types of things is going to push these guys back when really they were up and comers. There was no real rush. So and I know some of you guys, the haters, they're like, oh, but Ego, you said you were right. What were you right about? Please tell me. Yeah, no problem. So what was I right about? Well, your boy Ego, I made a video talking Canelo Crawford undercard was in jeopardy because this Don King, only in America, had filed a cease and desist on Turkey Sella TKO Boxing, right? Saying announced a fight between my fighter, and that is not okay. That is not part of our plan. We didn't authorize this. A cease and desist order, which you guys know is the precursor to it. They continue to disobey the WBA and his clear directive on Pulev Hunter, said Don King. Hunter is under contract to Don King Promotions and Productions, and he'll be fighting for a world title. So once again, your boy Ego was right. And it's so, you had idiots in the comment section. They're like, no, Ego, you're wrong. This is a lie. Okay, it's a lie, but where is the fight that they said was going to be on here, which was Jermell Big Baby Miller versus Michael Hunter? I don't see it. Announced the undercard finally, and where is the fight? So obviously, Don King in his cease and desist, there was some actual merit to it, because if not, why not push through with the fight that you announced? And to further prove and to show you the receipts, here it goes. Look, Ring has confirmed that a cracking heavyweight showdown has been finalized between Jermell Miller and Michael Hunter. The fight will headline an event September 11th, Las Vegas, as part of Crawford Fight Week. So where is that fight on this? So at best, they still have obstacles to get that fight going because of what I reported accurately, that Don King put out a cease and desist, which some people said doesn't make sense. If I'm lying, I'm flying. And Jermell Miller, Michael Hunter was not announced on the Canelo Crawford fight card. So I think there's more to that. We'll see what happens with the cease and desist. At best, you're going to have to probably pay Don King, and that's if you want his fighter, Michael Hunter. If not, Michael Hunter's getting pulled, you know, but you're going to have to make it right with Don King, which is going to take money, right? So either way, to me, this is a terrible look for Ring and TKO, because if you put out breaking and then the fight doesn't happen because of technicalities, or you didn't get the proper authorization from each person's promoter, that makes you look negligent. You look terrible. You look disorganized, unprofessional. To advertise a fight is really kind of like false advertising, if I'm being real. To put the Ring has confirmed a fight has been finalized, and then put breaking and get people hopes up, and people like, yeah, and then not make good on it. Look, this man tagged Kubrat Pulev because him and Michael Hunter was supposed to fight. So I don't believe in that. I feel like you're playing with fans' emotions at that rate. If you really announce fights and then they don't come, right? And then they don't happen. So that's that. That was a follow-up to my previous video. But all in all, this card is terrible. This is supposed to be some type of mega fight that you guys were saying between Canelo and Crawford. To me, the promotion has been horrible. Vegas, I've already went over this, and they don't have a strong supporting card for a fight that they're claiming is a generational fight. So very disappointing to me for a fight that is supposed to be once in a lifetime, it says, of an undercard that fans aren't really behind. You know what I mean? I don't really get it. But look, somebody said the undercard is trash. The fight probably gonna suck. Blah blah blah. Let's check out more comments. For such a big fight in Allegiant Stadium, undercard is pretty mid. Yeah, you're occupying a big old stadium and you're not even putting together the best capable show. Versus, like I said, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, they had a stadium, AT&T. they at least put on a show. I knew the undercards were going to be mid. Is happening. So yeah, Jake Paul, he had a stadium with Mike Tyson, but they put on, look, undercard trash. Worst undercard I've seen in a long time, Turk. Ain't undercard. Told you. Here's what they think about you. Ain't no way Fernando Vargas is in this card laughing. This guy is trash. At least you should have put his brother, blah, blah, blah. See? And the other issue is this. Look, people try to tell you have no star power on the card at all. Like not even a star power in a match with an unknown name. You got like all up and comers. The other thing that makes absolutely no sense is Turkey said that he was doing a spar off, right, to produce who appears on the card. What happened to that? They did the sparring session and the fighters got punched up and beat up for no reason, and it don't look like they're on the card. So what was the point of doing that box off and open sparring session, and then none of those people are even on the card, like the people that were in those bouts? So they were just getting cuts and bruises with no headgear for no reason. And then Dana White's guy, Caleb Walsh, is on there. He's guy, this dude, Mohammed Alakel or whatever, right? So they just put who they wanted on the card anyway. Trash.